Hello, guys. It's such a pleasure to be here speaking to you again. I'm Navneet. I'm one of the product experts here at Zoho Finance. I am one of the speakers who will be taking you through this Zoho Finance Masterclass. The objective of this masterclass is to cover the entire suite of finance products that we have that you can see on the screen. Starting off with our dedicated accounting software, which is Zoho Books, which we'll be focusing on today, and gradually cover the rest of the products also. So, a very brief overview of Zoho Books before we start today. As you probably already know, it is a cloud-based online accounting software that comprehensively takes care of all your business needs. It automates your receivables, your payables. It takes care of your stock. If you want to integrate your bank account to your accounting software, you can easily do that. And finally, we have a very powerful reports module. We generate about 50 plus insightful reports within Zoho Books, which gives a very powerful insight into the accounting that's happening at your organization. With that, this is the core structure for this particular masterclass that we are doing. So, if you've joined us before, then you would be already familiar with this. My colleagues have covered the previous topics here. We started off with setting up an organization in Zoho Books and how to migrate, and if you want to set up the opening balance within Zoho Books, how exactly to do that. And then we slowly moved on to each and every module within Zoho Books and covered them in depth. So if at any stage, if you missed any particular webinar and if you would like to watch it again, you can always reach out to us and we can provide you the links for those past webinars. Today, for the purpose of this webinar, I'll be focusing on a very interesting topic within Zoho Books. It's automation and custom functions within Zoho Books. This is chapter 10 of our masterclass, and I'm calling it Automation and Custom Functions, How to Go Beyond the Basics. With that, I'm going to go into the agenda for today. I'm going to start off with an introduction to automation and what exactly it means, what we have been doing over the years within Zoho Books, and then specifically talk about the automation module within the product. And then I'm going to spend some time on workflows. This would be at the core of whatever that we are talking about today will contain. I'll talk about what a workflow means and how to set up a specific workflow in Zoho Books, and what are the different actions that's triggered by the workflows. And finally, so custom functions would be one of those actions that is triggered by a workflow, but I'm explaining it as a separate topic because it's very vast and deep, and yeah, it requires a separate section on its own. And we are going to finish off with custom functions and its implications for our customers. With that, I'm going to get started. Automation in Zoho Books. So automation has been a buzzword. It has been at the cornerstone of whatever innovation that we've been doing over the years has been. It is ultimately, automation is about managing your time effectively and making the human experience easy. Yeah. If you take the different modules within Zoho Books, if you take the banking module within Zoho Books, for example, it's very easy for you to integrate your bank account, and after that, your bank transactions are fetched automatically into Zoho Books and reconciled, and all you have to do is match them with existing transactions, your bills or invoices that you've created at the click of a button. So automation is something that we've already been doing over the years. It's not something new. So in this slide, I'm just going to go over the specific automation features that we have in uh, in various modules within Zoho Books. Then we have something called payment reminders. We know these situations, right? Because when you send out an invoice to your customer, ideally you would like payment as soon as possible, but usually that's not really the case, because sometimes the credit card has maxed out or expired, or the customer has simply forgotten to make a payment. So in those situations, you don't have to worry. The software can take care of the reminding part for you. Either you can send out manual reminders, or if you want to send out automated reminder emails to your customers, you can easily do that within Zoho Books. Next up, we have something called the documents feature. This is a cool new feature that we came out with a while back. So it's an add-on feature in Zoho Books. So once you've signed up for this add-on, things are as easy as snapping a picture of your receipt or bill that you have in your hand and uploading it directly to Zoho Books. The intelligence system that we have running in the background will automatically capture all the important data and convert it into a transaction. So again, at the click of a button, you can match it to an existing transaction that an invoice or a bill that you already have in Zoho Books. So so what it does is takes out the manual part of accounting for you. All these little things combined makes for a very powerful automated package. And reports, like I mentioned in the beginning, we have a very powerful reporting module which provides a very insightful, you know, uh, insight. It provides a very keen insight into your business operations. So if you would like to have those reports mailed directly into your inbox on a weekly basis or on a periodic basis, you can always set that within the reports module in Zoho Books. And finally, we have recurring documents. So whatever invoices or bills or if there's a recurring expense that you have, you can always set them as recurring so that it will be generated automatically on a periodic basis. So if you want to set it up on a weekly basis, you can always do that. Or if there's an invoice that you would like to generate every month, that would be the example of subscription based business. You can always do that within Zoho Books. So these are the key features of the automation features that we have in Zoho Books comprises. So we don't ask for an external processor to do any of these functions that I just described, or the functions, the workflows that I'm going to describe in the next slide. So everything here is built into the product by default. You don't need a third party at any point. It's handled in real time. There's no delay between the workflow that you're executing and having the actual task being carried out. And finally, we provide a lot of customization. So we provide the basic workflows. You can take that and customize it to suit the specific needs of your business. So with that, I'm going to jump into the second section for today. That is setting up workflows. So understanding workflows. What exactly is a workflow? Like I said in the beginning, it's all about automating your business process. If there's a specific business process that you have been doing manually, workflow is aimed at automating it completely so that you can focus on making your business grow bigger, while the software takes care of the hard part, the tedious tasks. We are used to companies like Amazon, and we live in an age where purchases are made instantly at the click of a button, and invoices are sent out the next second. So why shouldn't we have that same functionality in your accounting software as well? So that's the thought process that we had when we came up with the automation workflow module within Zoho Books. So over the course of this, the rest of this webinar, I'll be covering different workflow scenarios, automation scenarios, and what exactly are the use cases. How exactly is it used by our customers? That's one example there. Webhook is an action through which once an invoice is paid, an SMS is automatically sent to your phone. And workflow types, you can set it as either event based or date based. If you want an action to be triggered by an event, like a good example would be an invoice being paid and an SMS being triggered to your phone. You can always set that. Or if you want to set it by trigger it by a specific date, again you have the flexibility to choose that. And finally, yeah, these are the different actions that will be triggered by the workflows that we have discussed. So within Zoho Books, you have email alerts, field updates, webhooks, and finally custom functions. So whatever workflow that you implement, will lead to four of these actions, and you can choose which particular action you want to execute. So with that, I'm gonna jump into email alerts. So this is something that's at the that's very basic, and that's very popular among our customers also. You can create an email alert for a variety of scenarios, and let's face it, we are all familiar with these situations, right? Let's say there's a customer of yours who has suddenly moved to a different state within the country, and he has changed his shipping address, but the delivery team in your company has no idea about this change. So what do you do? So you can set up a specific workflow through which an email is sent to your delivery team whenever a customer changes his billing or shipping address. So that's the most useful and effective use case for an email alert. Creating an email alert within Sobooks is really easy. All you have to do is just give the name, uh, mention the specific module, and we have a variety of templates that you can choose from. If you want to play around with that, if you want to customize it, you can always do that, and select the list of email recipients that this email should go to. Like I said, email templates, we have a bunch of them, and if you want to customize that to suit the brand that you're trying to portray, you can always do that within Zoho Books. Recipients, it can you can either choose from the list of contacts that you have, or the list of users in your organization, or if there's any other additional recipient if you want to add, you can always do that within Zoho Books. So other than this, so within email alerts, if you want to mark a specific workflow email alert workflow as inactive, or if you want to edit it, or if you want to delete it at a later point, you can always do that. So these are seemingly simple actions, but what I'm trying to convey is that even once you've created and started executing this particular workflow, even at a later point, you have the flexibility to edit this if you come across a situation where you feel that you need to change it according to your changing business needs. So scenarios. First one would be the ideal case that I just described, like a change in shipping address, and if you want to trigger a mail to your delivery team, or another situation, if there's an invoice that's been raised, which is greater than a specific value, and you want to send a congratulatory mail to that specific salesperson or your entire sales team, you can set the software to automatically do that for you. Next up, we have something called field updates. So, so if you've been using Sobooks for a while, you'll be familiar with these different fields that I'm talking about. If you're talking about discounts, or the invoice date, or the total amount, whatever fields or boxes that you have within a particular document that you create. So field update, what I mean is updating that specific field automatically in case of a specific action. So an example would be if I generate an invoice that is, let's say, I have to give a specific discount when an invoice is generated above a certain value. I can always do that with my field updates. So I'll be covering that in detail when I talk about the specific scenarios. So creating a field update is again really easy. So all you have to do is specify the name of this particular workflow, the module to which it's applicable for, the specific update that you want to do, and you're good to go. Things are as easy as that. If you want to further filter the modules and just choose the estimates or invoices that you want to see, you can always do that with the filters that we provide in the module section. And other actions is something that we saw earlier also with email alerts. If you want to further edit it or delete it, you can always do that at a later point. So, what exactly are the scenarios for field updates? Uh, The best example I would say is discounts, and we've constantly seen our customers do this. Let's say an estimate is created for a value that is less than 10,000 rupees or dollars, and I've specifically mentioned that no discount has to be given in that case. So I can set a field update to show that when an estimate is set below a specific value, no discount can be given. Or if an invoice or a document is created above a certain value, then I have to update it with the name of a specific salesperson, so that he takes care of all the major business deals for me. I can easily do that with my field updates workflow. So next up, we have something that's really interesting and used widely by our customers. It's called webhooks, so within Zoho Books. So the easiest example of describing a webhook would be the situation of you going to an ATM and withdrawing money. So as soon as you withdraw money, you get an SMS usually onto your phone telling you about the money that you just the purchase or the withdrawal that you just made from the bank. So that same exact process can be implemented in Zoho Books as well. Whenever a customer has made a payment or an invoice is overdue, and if you want to send an SMS to that particular customer, you can always set up workflows by enabling webhooks. So basically, what we are doing is by partnering up with a third party, you can set up triggers so that the customer is reminded of an impending payment, or you get a notification when a payment is made. Again, setting up webhooks, that's the screen on the right. So this is something that I'll be covering as when I switch to the product at the end of this particular webinar. So you have your custom parameters that you can add to your when you set up a specific webhook, like your auth token or API key. If you want to add something, you can always do that. Other than that, if there are entity parameters that you would like to add, you can always do that as well. So again, other actions, something that I covered earlier as well. In the case of any edits or deleting a specific webhook at a later point, because you feel that your business has evolved and has different needs now, you can always do that with webhooks. And what exactly are the other scenarios for webhooks? So the first one is the most obvious one, the case of a payment being made and an SMS being sent out to either you, the business person, or to your customers, to your customer who made that payment. We can actually always take it one step further. There are other ways of implementing webhooks. Let's say you're a customer who's using both Zoho Books as well as Zoho Creator, and whenever you create a contact in Zoho Books, you would like that specific contact details to show up in your Zoho Creator account as well. So this is something that can be implemented easily by using webhooks. So in this third and final section, we'll be talking about custom functions within Zoho Books, how to create them and how to execute them, and what are some of the use cases. So whatever actions that we just saw, whatever workflows that we created, and the examples that we gave, custom functions, it really allows you to take it to the next level. Allow me to explain that a bit further, because if I take a previous example that I gave of giving a permanent discount of 15% whenever an invoice of above $5,000 is created. But that's a very static way of doing things. What if the invoice amount is 10,000 for one person and 20,000 for the other person? So in both these situations, I'm left with giving the same discount value to my particular customer. So I really want to make this dynamic. What I mean by this is that I want to apply this 15% discount to the actual invoice total that's being created, instead of making it a static value. So I can easily do that by the way of custom functions in Zoho Books. So custom functions, it allows you to write small pieces of code to automate your business processes, the ones that we just saw in Zoho Books. The difference being that in this case it's more dynamic, and there's more options for you to customize it the way you want it to be to suit your specific business needs. So if it's be it providing a special discount on your customer's invoice, or adding a late fee when the invoice becomes overdue, all you have to do is write a piece of code using the specific scripting language, that is Deluge, and link it to a specific workflow rule, and the automation is seamlessly taken care of by the software. You don't have to worry about it at a later point. So a couple of words about Deluge. Deluge stands for Data Enriched Language for the Universal Grid Environment. It's an online scripting language that is integrated with Zoho Creator, which is our Zoho's dedicated app building platform that's available to our customers. So it enables users to add logic to the application incrementally, thereby making it more powerful and robust. So you can always look up more information about Deluge. For the purpose of this particular webinar, I won't be covering that in detail. So you can see the screen on the right with this with the language, with the code that I've written for updating a specific invoice field with a dynamic value. So creating a custom function, that's the screen that you will arrive at. All you have to do is to go to a settings section, click on automation, and then select custom functions, and this is where you'll arrive at. You have to specify the specific function name that you're giving. Choose the module for which you wish to create the custom function, and then type in or drag the parameters that are mentioned on the left side of the script box. This is something I'll show when we switch to the product as well. And then choose the parameters of your choice, and set the conditions for your custom function. So once you're done, you can click on save for the changes to completely take effect. Now the next step is to create a workflow rule using the newly created custom function. You can do this by heading back to the automation section and clicking on workflow rules, and creating a new workflow that will set the triggers. Under the actions tab, you will find custom functions again, where you can select your newly created custom function, and you can save it, and you're good to go. Now after this, whenever the criteria that you have set is met, the workflow rule will be triggered. So that would be something like a discount, or an email, or whatever other workflow rule that you have set. Whenever that criteria is met, this workflow rule will be triggered, which in turn will trigger the custom function. So that's how it works, and I'll give three different scenarios here. The first one is the obvious one, the one that I mentioned earlier. If an invoice exceeding a specific value, and I want to give a dynamic discount on the total invoice value. Other than that, if there are overdue invoices and I want to add a late fee of let's say 5% after the 10th uh, 10th day or something, I can do that, execute that by using custom functions. And another example, that something that we've commonly seen, I can provide discount if there's a specific loyal customer who keeps making us payments before the due date, who's always up to date with his payments, and I want to reward this particular guy with a discount. I can easily execute that by using custom functions. So with that, I'm gonna switch to the product here. That's the dashboard for Zoho Books that you're looking at, and mention a couple of words about the automation that I mentioned in the beginning as well. If you go to the banking section here, you can see the list of banks that have already connected with my Zoho Books account. So my bank transactions are automatically fetched, and I can match it with my existing transactions within Zoho Books. Other than that, if I want to set payment reminders for my customers, I can always do that. There are two ways of doing it. If I want to manually send out reminders, I can do that. Or if there are automated reminders, that can be done as well within Zoho Books. Next up, we have something called recurring invoices. Again, something that I covered earlier. If this comes in particularly handy if you are in the subscription based business, and if you want to send out periodic invoices to your customers, you can always do that. You can specify the billing invoicing frequency here, and the software will automatically send this out to your customer. Same thing in your purchases section. You have recurring bills as well as recurring expenses, where you can set the specific frequency. Where yeah, you can see it for yourself here. So that was me giving a very quick run through of the current automation features that we have within our product. Next up, I'm going to jump into the automation section within Zoho Books, and talk about the workflows that we just saw in this particular webinar. So you can see the bunch of options here. Workflow rules are on top. So creating a workflow rule is really easy. All you have to do is click on a new workflow rule here, and start off by specifying the name and the module, which will take you to the next section. I'm just gonna give this as invoice discount, and that will be my discount on invoices above 10K. So this is an event based trigger that I want whenever an invoice is created. So I'm gonna set my action is email alert, and add a new email alert here. So that's my list of recipients that's populated by default. I have my salesperson and the list of users here, and other roles. I'm gonna set this is Navneet, and save this. If I want to add a time-based action, I can always do that here, and I'm just gonna click on save. So that's been created. So another way for me to do this is to go directly to email alerts, and I can do this from here as well. So the other things that we discussed, creating a field update as an action, or creating a webhook. This is the screen for creating a webhook. You can always do that within Zoho Books. And yeah, this is the custom function section. So creating a custom function, again, something that we saw earlier. This is the list of deluge tasks that you have by default. You can the specific integrations that we provide. So you can once you're done with your script language, you can always paste it here and set up the function. So that was me giving an overview of the automation and custom functions within Zoho Books. And uh, if you have any questions, we have our product experts here available for you to answer them. And further down also, if you have any more questions, you can always shoot us a mail at support@india@sohobooks.com, and we would be happy to answer them. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye bye. Have a good day.